The tussle between the state and Dr Nandipha Magudumana will see her legal team continue with arguments for bail today. The matter was postponed for further arguments.
Magudumana's legal team have so far lambasted the state for the assertion that it had overwhelming evidence against her when it failed to back up with evidence. They also challenged the schedule of the offence that Magudumana is charged under. Magudumana is facing a litany of charges over the prison escape of rapist and murderer Thabo Bester from the Mangaung prison. Newzroom Afrika's Mnisi is live for us outside court this morning. Linda, good morning. How do we reckon today will go?
Well, it's the continuation, Michelle, of those arguments that have been made. You'll remember that last week, on the second day of this bail hearing, we started a little after 2 o'clock, which is after lunch. Essentially, that's a really limited time for arguments to be completed, especially in a bail application like this, where the case is quite complex. So it had to be postponed to this week to further those arguments by Dr Nandipha Magudumana's legal team, but also it will also see, the state make its own arguments. You'll remember they're opposing bail, but the defense is saying that the state claimed to have overwhelming evidence against Dr Nandipha Magudumana, but failed to back it up with the evidence that it claimed. You'll remember you've just mentioned that the issue around the schedule is in contention now, because you'll remember this is a Schedule 5 bail application, and that means the onus is on Dr Nandipha Magudumana to prove on a balance of probabilities that if she is granted bail, she will not evade trial. Her release on bail will not endanger the public. It will also not undermine the criminal justice system. So those are just some of the few hurdles that she needs to satisfy this court with before bail can be granted. But you would have seen in that affidavit that was deposed by the investigating officer in this matter, detailing her alleged involvement in the prison escape of Thabo Bester. So saying that even before Thabo Bester escaped, there was a body that was claimed, and even when Katlego Bereng's body was claimed, it was in furtherance of Thabo Bester's prison escape. It says Dr Nandipha Magudumana is at the center of it all, because even with the corruption charge, she's alleged to have paid accused number one, Mr. Matwara, about 85,000 rand in furtherance of this particular plan. So that charge of fraud and corruption, which places this case on a Schedule 5, is the one that the state says, the defense rather says, is in contention. Because if you look at the figures, they say the figures don't tally up to the requirements of that particular schedule. So they're more than convinced that they're dealing here with a Schedule 1. But on the other side, they're saying that the state has failed to rebut their story around how Dr Nandipha Magudumana left this country. You'll remember she's told this court, sobbing throughout those proceedings, telling this court that she was taken out of the country against her will. But the state has also hit back, saying that no, in fact she ran, leaving her children and of course her family behind, leaving the country with Thabo Bester after, of course, the evidence was uncovered that Thabo Bester had in fact escaped from prison. So that person cannot come back today before this court and claim to have been taken against her will. They've also provided pictures where you remember Thabo Bester and Dr Nandipha Magudumana reunited in the dock, seemingly love struck with each other and holding hands. But they're saying, well, the court shouldn't place any weight on that, but they will prove at a later stage during trial that Dr Nandipha Magudumana was taken out of this country against her will.
Yeah, absolutely. Linda Mnisi giving us a sense of the important things we need to keep in mind as that case goes back to court. Linda, thanks very much indeed.